Hey, Commanders fans, hold on to your hats because we've got some news that's going to have you jumping out of your seats. We're in that coveted window of opportunity we've all been dreaming of, with Jayden Daniels set to change the game, and that means our name is going to be popping up in every trade rumor. The latest involves a name that could transform our defense overnight. If you want to know what this bombshell is and what it means for the future of our team, stick with me until the end, because this news is exclusive. And of course, don't forget to like the video. It only takes a click and helps me a lot. The target, according to rumors gaining traction, is none other than Trey Hendrickson, the star pass rusher from the Cincinnati Bengals. You know about his drama with the front office. It seems the situation isn't resolved, and that opens a window for teams like ours in win-now mode to try their luck. And ESPN, via analyst Seth Walder, threw a trade proposal into the mix that directly involves one of our top draft picks from last year. It's a bold proposal, to say the least. The trade ESPN suggested to bring Hendrickson to Washington is: we would send defensive tackle Johnny Newton, our 2024 second-round pick, a 2026 third-round pick, and a 2027 seventh-round pick. In return, we get Trey Hendrickson. That's it. The ESPN proposal puts Newton as the primary trade chip. According to Seth Walder's analysis, this trade would make sense for both sides. For the Bengals, receiving Newton would be an immediate and young boost to their defensive line, in addition to future draft picks. For us, the Commanders, the logic is clear. We're in win-now mode. Walder points out that our best edge rusher right now is Dorrance Armstrong, and adding a guy like Hendrickson, who had the second-best pass rush win rate in the league last year, would be a massive jump in our ability to pressure the opposing quarterback. Losing Johnny Newton, a second-round rookie with immense potential, would leave our interior defensive line, which already has some veterans, older, in the analysts' words. We have Darren Payne, Javon Kinlaw, and Deatrich Wise. They're good, experienced names. But Newton represents the future, youth, and growth potential. Letting him go right away would be a move that screams, we're only thinking about the present. ESPN's analysis suggests that including Newton in the proposal is what makes the package viable for us, especially since we no longer have our 2026 second-round pick, which went to Houston in the Laramie Tunsil trade. In other words, we're already light on future draft capital. Trading Newton and the 2026 third-rounder would leave us with very few picks in the early days of the 2026 draft. It's a high price in terms of long-term roster building. As a fan, this proposal leaves me with a racing heart. On the one hand, the idea of having Trey Hendrickson wearing Commanders colors is simply electrifying. A dominant pass rusher is something we've been searching for years, and he's exactly that. A guy who consistently gets to the quarterback and changes the game. Our defense would instantly be more feared. Imagine him lining up with Darren Payne and Jonathan Allen. It would be a nightmare for any offensive line in the league. But on the other hand, we just drafted Johnny Newton. We saw his potential, his explosiveness, his penetration ability. He seemed to be the missing piece to complement Payne and Allen for many years. Plus, Darren Payne's contract only has 2 years left, including 2025, and he doesn't have much guaranteed money after that. He'll also be nearing 30 when the contract ends. Newton was the guarantee of continuity and youth on the interior defensive line. Trading him now, before he's even played an official snap, seems premature? ESPN's analysis and the proposal itself make it clear. Trading Newton would be the definitive proof that Adam Peters and the new front office have a mentality focused solely on the Super Bowl. It's a move that says, we're willing to sacrifice the future to maximize this window of opportunity with Jayden Daniels. It's understandable, after all. The ultimate goal is to bring the Lombardi Trophy back to Washington after almost 35 years. A player like Trey Hendrickson is, objectively speaking, exactly what the Commanders need to become a true title contender. The lack of an elite pass rusher has been a discussed weakness. And look, I'm not the general manager, but ESPN's proposal, however painful it is to think about losing Newton, makes sense within this win-now logic. It's a calculated risk, a high-stakes bet for a potentially enormous return. This trade would be a watershed moment. It would not only bring a Pro Bowl talent to our defense, but also send a strong message to the entire league, and especially to Commanders Nation. We're going all in. There's no time to waste, no room to wait for rookies to develop if an immediately impactful veteran is available. It's an aggressive mentality that seeks glory in the present. And that brings us to the big question that keeps me up at night, and that I want you to help me answer. Considering that the main objective is to win the Super Bowl as quickly as possible and that Trey Hendrickson would be a spectacular addition to our defense, would you, a Commanders fan, make this trade and give up Newton and the draft picks for him? Is the risk of losing a future pillar of the defense worth the chance to have an elite pass rusher now? Leave your honest opinion in the comments. Let's debate this complex decision that could shape the destiny of our team. We're living in a new era here in Washington, with the team showing that they're here to truly compete, and this is directly related to the significant signings we've made. But one of these additions, a guy everyone is eager to see on the field, needs to prove something fundamental next season for us to achieve our goals. Stay tuned to the end to understand what this challenge is and what it means for our offense with Jayden Daniels. And you already know, right? Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below what you think of this situation. The Washington Commanders' decision to go after Deebo Samuel back in March, sending draft picks to San Francisco, showed everyone our current state of mind. The pursuit of a championship. I confess that hearing those two words together with our team's name still sounds a bit strange after so many years, but Jayden Daniels' arrival changed everything. The energy is different, the hope is real, and the front office is acting like a team that wants to win now. With Jayden Daniels at the helm, we have a quarterback with the potential to quickly transform this team into a true contender. We drafted some good pieces to surround him, but Adam Peters and the team knew they needed more. They needed established names to take this offense and the team to another level. And that's where trades for guys like Deebo Samuel came in. The expectation is that Deebo will come in as our number 2 receiver, forming a dynamic duo with our captain, Terry McLaurin. We haven't had such a strong receiver duo in a long time, have we? Having Terry and Deebo together on the field is something that excites me, but we need to be realistic. This trade involves some risk, and today's news explains why. Deebo Samuel had that stratospheric 2021 season where he seemed unstoppable, combining receptions and rushing in a unique way. But to be honest, his numbers dropped after that magical year and haven't returned to that level in the following 3 years. That doesn't mean he's become a bad player, far from it, but his overall production has decreased, and that's where the analysis of what to expect from him here in Washington comes in. According to Bill Barnwell, a respected ESPN analyst, even with the drop in overall numbers, Deebo still has everything to play a fundamental role in our offense. Barnwell points out that Deebo will continue to create spectacular plays out of nothing, breaking tackles and gaining extra yards after the catch. He still has that playmaker factor that we need so much. On the other hand, the analyst is also realistic and says that Deebo might drop more passes than ideal and will probably miss some games per season, which is something we need to be prepared for. But in his view, that's perfectly acceptable for a high-level WR2. And most importantly, Deebo's playing style, with his ability to block and his experience in RPOs, read option plays, fits perfectly with the type of offense the Commanders ran a lot last season. That almost 1,880-yard total campaign in 2021, combining receptions and rushing, is probably in the past. Deebo Samuel may not be used as intensely as a runner here in Washington as he was in San Francisco. We have other running backs, and his main focus, it seems, will be different. But look, even without repeating the numbers from 2021, Deebo accumulated over 2,100 receiving yards in the last 3 seasons. This shows that he can still be a big producer in the passing game. And frankly, that's exactly what the Washington Commanders need and expect from him. To be a consistent receiver, a strong and reliable complement to Terry McLaurin, who we know will reach 1,000 yards every year if he's healthy. It's hard to talk about a role player when it comes to a guy with star status and Deebo Samuel's electrifying talent. But ultimately, what we need him to prove next season is that he can focus and maximize his main role as a pass receiver in this offense. Not that he won't run with the ball occasionally, but the focus has to be on being a constant threat in the passing game. If Deebo Samuel can prove he's capable of performing this focused WR2 role, being a reliable and explosive target for Jayden Daniels, our entire offensive system will function at its maximum potential. Having him and Terry McLaurin lined up with other targets and a solid ground game will open a huge range of possibilities for us. And now the question that won't go away and that I really want to know your opinion on, Commanders Nation. Considering his injury history and the drop in overall production since 2021, but also his undeniable talent and the team's needs, do you believe Deebo Samuel will be able to adapt to this focused WR2 role and be the missing piece for our offense to finally take off with Jayden Daniels? Or is the risk of him not delivering too great? Leave your comment below.